Flyers lose tonight 2-1. 2-1. Bundy, this was not a particularly good game. And then with about 7 minutes left in the third period, the Flyers seemed to wake up at some point. Maybe the espresso hit late. And I think within 2 minutes of them playing hard, they scored. I should say playing hard, but within 2 minutes of them playing with some like actual jam, they score a goal. Bon Jovi plays in the arena. Travis Konechny scores within like 5 seconds. And then they close out regulation with a lot of opportunities. Maybe that last minute or so, they really couldn't get anything set up in the offensive zone. But, man, what a disappointing result. 2-1, the final score tonight.
Yeah, it was not the kind of game that I thought was going to happen. I thought the Flyers were going to come out tonight and really turn it on again after a loss last night to Toronto. And you never want to lose 2 in a row, and you don't want to lose to teams like Calgary. I mean, you couldn't even get a point here tonight, which is a real disappointment. I didn't like the process at all tonight until after they scored the goal, which was a little too late. I mean, they had another chance to get one, but still, you don't want to turn things on when there's 5.5 minutes left in the third period and then assume that you're just going to tie the game back up. So, very disappointing loss. And again, I just didn't like the way the Flyers played this game tonight.
It just like tonight. I think last night the word of the night was like disjointed, and I don't know if I'd go that far tonight, but it just felt like they never really got anything meaningful set up at all. You know, it just. We talked earlier in the game about, how the injury to Tyson Forster was going to potentially lead to them having to kind of mix up the lines a little bit. And you worry, obviously, about probably their best line to this point, the Forster and Brink and Cates line, not being whole tonight, that was going to cause problems. And it did. And it kind of reared its ugly head. Mishkov did eventually get into, I think, better positions in that third period. We talked about that. In the second intermission, based on who he had been playing with through the first 40 minutes of the game, you kind of figured he was going to play with some guys that maybe mesh a little bit better, give him a better chance to put his skills to the use. What did you see out of Mishkov there in the third?
Not a whole lot. Not. I mean, really, I didn't. If he was turning it on, I'd tell you, but he wasn't. I didn't see a whole lot there tonight. He wasn't moving his feet like I'd seen him move the last few games. He was getting progressively better every game. But he didn't move his feet. I didn't love his game last night either. He's got to skate. He's got to make quicker plays with the puck, and decide that he wants to be a shooter. Does anyone know how many shots Mishkov had tonight? Find out.
I can find it for you.
I can probably pull it up real quick. Hold on.
I'll get it.
We'll keep talking while they are. But I mean, yeah. Again, Flyers with just 18 shots on goal against this Calgary team. I mean, they don't have a great world-beating defense.
He had 1 shot on goal.
1 shot, yeah.
Mishkov had 1. Sealer had 2. It was a 3 or 4 way tie for the lead. No, I'm sorry. Konechny had 3 shots on goal, 2 for Brink, 2 for Zamula, 2 for Sealer, and 2 for Zegras. Intern, what's up?
Sanheim had 2. Sealer had 1.
Oh, on this it says 3 for. Okay.
All right. Well, whatever.
I'm on
just looking for Mishkov. Well, ESPN's probably wrong.
It usually is when it comes to hockey.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Not that anybody with YouTube TV would know.
Oh, yeah, I'm one of those guys.
I went
to turn on the ESPN this morning. I had no ESPN. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? This is ridiculous.
I have even worse news than Bundy not having access to ESPN.
What's that?
Intern Andrew's the only one who picked the Flames tonight.
He did. Tied me.
He did, yeah.
And
I don't know. The only thing was wrong with this score. There's no way there was going to be 8 goals in this game.
That means that Intern Andrew is now riding a 4-game winning streak. It snaps a 3-game winning streak for Anthony. And as of right now, the top of the table reads Anthony Sanfilippo, Intern Andrew tied with 10 points, Bundy with 7, me with 6. Now, Bundy, if the season were to end today, I want to get your feeling on this. Who would win the tiebreaker? So Andrew
he has a better record than
Andrew
me.
has technically picked more games correct. Anthony's the only one with a perfect score so far.
Yeah, he would win a tiebreaker.
We lean by most wins.
He's 9 and 3,
results.
and I'm sorry, I'm 9 and 3. He's 10 and 2.
Yeah,
so he would get the
okay. Wow. All right.
I'm fair.
He's fair.
I'm fair. I don't try and weasel something my way.
Wow, weaseling. That just seems
That's typical you.
seems
That's what I'm
hurtful.
saying.
Hurtful is what that sounds like. Wow. Okay. I want to go over to the comments here. John Tortorella is back in the comments. Asks, "Is there any way the Flyers consider bringing Torts back?" I don't think you have a job there, fella. I'm sorry. I don't think it's going to happen now. Let's see. Ryan Cummings asks over on YouTube, "Bundy, is it me or does Mishkov look like whenever he gets the puck, he doesn't move his feet at all, like zero strides when he possesses the puck, especially in the neutral zone on entries?"
His biggest issue for me is that he doesn't move his feet enough. That would be the biggest thing. Now, I call him a small space operator. Like when he gets in those tight spaces, he really can make some magic happen sometimes, but he's got to get to that space and he's got to move his feet to do so. Not often. I haven't seen in the last few games a lot of rush chances involving Mishkov, where there's like he's flying down the wing, taking a shot, and then driving to the net. I just don't see that. You really felt the loss of Forster tonight, though.
You did.
It really jangled up the lines a lot and caused a little bit of chaos for the Flyers, I think. But they shouldn't be bothered by that. I mean, it might be, again, I don't know if with Forster, maybe it's a week or 2 weeks or whatever it is, but he felt like they missed him out there on the ice tonight, just from a stability standpoint.
Here's the bad news for the Flyers, if you want to go to bad news. And I will, I guess. So the Flyers have now played, what is it? Is it exactly a quarter of their games now, Anthony? At home, a quarter of their home games have now been played for the entire season through this weekend. I think it's a quarter, right?
Well, they've played what? They've played 3 road games and 10 home, and
I think
So 9.
9 home games.
9. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're close.
9 out of 41.
Yeah. So that's almost, you're almost at a quarter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They've played okay. They've certainly had better games at home.
Part of the
Go ahead,
problem, though, Russ, no, again, but when you look at Calgary, right, they've given up 25 goals in their last 5 games.
Yeah.
Like, that's inexcusable to come out and play like that against this team. And they got smashed by Nashville yesterday. Calgary did.
Mm-hmm.
This is a game where I'm telling you, as a coach, if I'm coaching, you're playing a north-south hockey game against this team. You get pucks in deep, you work the forecheck, and when there's a rush chance, you shoot the puck and get guys to the front of the net. There wasn't any of that until a little bit later on in the game.
And presumably that's exactly what Talk was telling these guys in the locker room. So is this going to be one of those games that he's just like ready to smack his own head against the wall? Like it clearly, the message didn't get through to these guys.
Well, it hasn't the last couple of games. And I give Toronto credit last night. Toronto was ready to play last night. Chief had those guys ready to go after they hadn't won on the road. They were coming off a terrible loss at Columbus, and they were ready to go last night. But tonight, inexcusable for me. There's no way you need to get 2 points against Calgary. Everybody else does.
Yeah. Pretty damn brutal.
Yeah, real disappointing game. Yeah.
And now, you go out on the road for 2. They'll be in Montreal on Tuesday, Nashville on Thursday. They return home to Xfinity Mobile Arena next Saturday. Then they're home against the Oilers on a Wednesday. And they're back on the road for 2 more. So the home cooking they've had here a good bit of the way early in the season, although it was largely against what we considered to be Murderer's Row when we looked back at the schedule. Tonight's a game you needed to get 2. At the very least, you needed to force overtime and get 1. To get nothing out of this is like one of those, like I think I said during second intermission, if you are going to try to be a playoff team, which is their goal, and you miss a spot by a point or 2 at the end of the year, you're absolutely going to look back on this one and say, what happened?
Yeah, and again, I worry because if the Flyers, if they can get to the playoff positioning and they're in a race, that's a precious 2 points.
Yeah.
Precious 2 points.
Yeah,
especially the way the league is. I mean, look at how the standings are. Everybody's knotted up together.
There's not a team in the Eastern Conference below 500 in points percentage.
Wow.
Not one.
And that's why when you get to the end of the year, you'll have a Jets team, Carolina, Canadiens. Those are your last 3 games of the season, right? And say you're one of those bubble-ish teams. Winnipeg will be a tough game, assuming everything.
They're all going to be tough.
Assuming that everything goes the way that you expect. Winnipeg's going to be tough. Carolina's going to be tough. Montreal's going to be battling for position, and then you're going to, again, you look back at this counts the same as those games.
Sure does. And so here's the one thing I want to say. Like, I don't want to dwell too much on saying like a game like this can cost you the season. It certainly can. I mean, ultimately you can pick any number of losses and say, well, that game you should have won. But at the same time, I can also say there's a game that you might win that you probably didn't deserve to win and you won it, right? So you can kind of goes the other way as well. You got to take the whole thing collectively. Right now, these last two games have not been good games for the Flyers. Just not. They did not play well yesterday, and they did not play well tonight. And if you really go back to the last game that they won against Nashville, 2 periods, they were terrible. Really up until that third goal in the third period by Jamie Drysdale of that game, they really were not very good in that game either. So this is now kind of an extended thing. And so maybe when you have a bad game, like as bad a game as tonight was, and again, they played a lot. They've been playing a lot of hockey, right? We know this, 4 and 6, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's a game like this that you kind of wakes you up out of it and you go, all right, we got to get back on the horse now. We drifted too far away from what we were doing well when things were going good over the first 10 games of the season.
Yeah.
Sound right?
Yeah, I want to go to this real quick from Donald Fletcher. Says, we are right back where we were 5 years ago, right in the middle. I don't know. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know why this year I feel so much different. I spent a lot of those years bemoaning the decisions that were made by front offices past.
See you, Timmy.
And this is like the first time that I feel like you have enough youth on the team. And up until a couple games ago, it felt like enough of those guys were heading in the right direction that I would have said, well, yeah, you might be in the middle. You might be currently on a trajectory to that bubble playoff spot, hockey purgatory. The difference is you have a whole bunch of young dudes on this team that look like they are taking that next step. And that's part of the development process. And that's part of what gets you from being a rebuilding team to a potential playoff team to hopefully becoming a playoff contender to then obviously hopefully becoming a Stanley Cup contender. Like, that is a step of the progression. They weren't going to go from a full-on rebuild to then being a middle of the Eastern Conference playoff team. Like, did somebody think that was going to happen? Is there anybody who's articulated that vision? Because I might have missed it if so. So I think it's okay for them to end up points-wise around where they've been the last few years, because I look at it and I say, like, you don't have a bunch of end-of-their-career dudes who are brought in here to be like patchwork to keep a GM safe in his job for another year. Am I crazy? Ant, am I nuts?
I don't know. I didn't hear you.
I mean, I don't think you're nuts with what you just said. I mean, is that an overall evaluation of you? Am I making, or am I just making off the comments?
Think people are being kind of ridiculous.
I always think people are being ridiculous.
No, the last few years, I think that people were totally fine.
No,
I do.
No, fans are always, the hardcore fans are always ridiculous. They are. And that's okay. You can be ridiculous. That's what your job is as a fan, to be ridiculous. To be ridiculous when team's going good and you're super confident, and it's ridiculous to be when the team's going bad, to be super negative. But that's what a fan's responsibility is. It's okay. It's all right.
Scotty here says a lot of negatives after 2 losses, still a winning record.
Well, it is. It's 500.
Even so, if we had said at the beginning of the year they were going to be 6-5-1 after the teams they were going to start the season against, I think we all would have said, yo, not bad. Right?
Yeah, this weekend stunk because they were 6-3, 6-3-1.
Yep.
And now they're 6-5-1.
Yeah,
and you got to go on the road now. That's why if you get one of these 2 wins, it changes the look of the standings.
Let's just say this. 48 hours ago, the Flyers had their best October in 18 years. 48 hours ago, they had their best October in 18 years. They had 2 bad games. It's not the end of the world. It's not a reason to completely overreact.
I agree.
It wasn't good.
It was a disappointing loss for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't good. There's a lot that has to be fixed, but it's not something to go bonkers about.
Here's how I'd put it. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
This team, if healthy, is the team that we saw have that really strong October. This team does not have the benefit of being able to lose an important contributor on the team. Yesterday, it was Couturier. Today, it's Forster. They don't have the ability or the depth right now to be able to kind of patchwork that for an extended period. Obviously, you have to hope that the Forster thing.
Yeah, the Flyers
do
lack depth, and that's what we said all along. That if they go through a spate of injuries, they don't have the guys to come in and make up the difference, and that's certainly a problem. The thing that's driving me nuts in the chat right now is the whole it's been 50 years, you can't win cups. I hate trophy culture with a passion. I hate it with a passion. You can never enjoy a sport if all you believe is you have to win or else you fail or else you suck. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. Just don't watch the sport then. That's what I say. Don't watch the sport.
I don't know what that means, though. What do you mean?
Trophy call, like people consider it a failure if you're not winning a championship, like a major failure. It's you suck, blow it up, everything's terrible. It's always the worst thing.
I think people are just like, I think with this team in this city, people are just looking for an extended period of not mediocrity.
The whole 50-year thing. It's like, I understand that they haven't won in 50 years, right? But what has the current group done to make you think that they are trying to gaslight you to believe that they're trying to win the whole thing right now?
That's the one thing. That's why I'm saying
they've not. They've been brutally honest with you. This is exactly what people. So let's go back 3 years, everyone. Let's go back with me 3 years. Okay, when the changes were made, when Chuck Fletcher was fired and Briere was brought in, and then Jonesy comes in and Dan Hilferty comes in, and those guys come in, right? What did everybody want them to do? What did everybody want them to do 3 years ago? Tear it down, rebuild, right, and do it the right way. So that's what they did, and they told you they were going to do that.
Like tear it down,
but enough. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that they told you they were going to do it, so they did what you asked for, and now they're in the process of doing it, and everybody's upset about it.
And by the way, even if they hadn't done, so actually unpack that a little bit differently. Go slightly off in the multiverse. If they hadn't torn it down, I mean, I would say tearing it down would have been like trading the Konechny's of the world, which they didn't do. But if they hadn't,
because you can't trade everybody.
But if they hadn't moved like Provorov, right? If they hadn't moved Hayes, if they hadn't moved those guys, for the people who are like, well, I didn't want them to tear it down. I wanted them to, make tweaks and try to. That team wouldn't have won either. That team probably would have ended up around like where this is right now, but with a lot of older guys holding spots that you would have wanted to see like guys eventually develop into. You know what I mean? Like if Hayes were still here, like if he hadn't made that kind of a move,
right,
he would be taking a spot of a guy that you would ultimately want to like see take his spot because he had a certain ceiling. That's why I think it's frustrating right now. It's back-to-back losses, and the chat has gone from a few days ago where it was like, oh, you know what? Like, it might not be perfect, but they're winning, and like it seems like things are heading in the right direction. Love that line. And now after 2 games, it's like, this sucks. I hate hockey.
Can you pull up the comment about somebody said I might not hate it if I had to buy a 200 ticket? No, but I know I can. But I know Andrew. I don't like to interfere with Andrew. You might not hate it if you actually had to buy a $200 ticket. Do you have to buy a $200 ticket? You choose to buy a $200 ticket. I mean, let's be honest. You could sit at home and watch it and enjoy it on your television for free. Well, for your cable bill, whatever your cable bill is, right? So you don't have to buy the $200 ticket. You choose to. And I applaud you for doing that. I applaud you for buying a ticket and coming down and cheering your team on. But don't make it seem like that just because you buy a ticket that you have some different kind of right to be more frustrated with them losing 2 games in a weekend in early November just because you spend them. It's like that doesn't equate. You know what I'm saying? That just doesn't equate. The team is what they are. The team is exactly what they've said they're going to be. And someone else had asked, and I missed it. It was a comment a little bit ago. I won't ask you to find it. Andrew would have to scroll far enough back. They're saying, well, what are they trying to do this year? The team, Rick Tocchet and his coaches and their players in that locker room, every last one of them are trying to make the playoffs.
Yes.
Every last one of them. There's no tanking or anything like that. Those players are trying to win every game and as best they can, and they're trying to make the playoffs. The management would love for them to take that next step and make the playoffs because they do believe that there is value in making a postseason and learning what it's like to play those games. Because Bundy, it's a lot different, right?
Yeah.
And it's just the experience. Like you remember the first time you went.
Yeah.
Like it was eye-opening, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's what they're looking for. They want that eye-opening experience for these teams. They don't sit here and have illusions of making the playoffs and then going on some crazy run to the Stanley Cup. Like that is not what is in their I mean, the players might get to the playoffs and say, "Yeah, we could do it. Great, that's fine. You want to have that kind of us against the world mentality, totally fine." But management's not thinking that. But would they prefer that they get into the playoffs and have a shot? Yes. So if you're asking what is their goal is to get there.
Yeah.
Their goal is to make the playoffs this year. And if they don't, they'll be disappointed, but they also won't look at it as, oh, well, we did something wrong and we have to start over again. No, it's just part of the process of how they're building the team. Was that a good enough answer for what you asked, Russ?
It was a great answer.
Thank you.
It was.
I wasn't listening. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Bundy, what do the Flyers have to do on Tuesday in the first 5 minutes against Montreal to give themselves a better chance?
Let's talk about it Wednesday
You know what? Well, how are we going to talk about Tuesday on Wednesday?
because we have a show, right?
Yeah, but that's the day after they played.
Yeah, so
Montreal.
we'll be wrapping that one up too on Wednesday.
Yeah, well, we'll be wrapping up the two. And look, let's say what's the chat going to be like if they go in? And I'm not predicting this because I'm not right now. But what if they go into Montreal, who's a pretty good team so far this season?
Yeah, they played well.
Played
Yeah.
well.
And
Okay.
Cam York flattens Cole Caulfield.
But what if they
Steps
go
over him like Allen
No,
Iverson?
they go
and
into
says,
Montreal.
They wanted you over
Let's
me.
say they go into Montreal and they win that game, play a really, really good game and win the game.
Mhm.
What's everybody saying on Tuesday night, Wednesday?
Darth Vladar refound his form.
Are they having a melt? Are they saying still it's that doesn't count, or are they going to be much happier then?
Well,
Getting Lord Stanley.
the chat. If we were to do a post-game show after that one, if Montreal wins, I guarantee you 60% of the comments would be, they chose to take Cam York over Cole Caulfield. That's what that's
Yeah,
what
for
the
sure.
chat. So it's actually good that it's an away game because if they lose a third straight, now, do we think that they're going to go back to Vladar on Tuesday? I would assume so.
Yes,
But
100%.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Vladar will play Tuesday. I think you'll see Kolosov maybe get one, but depending on what Ersson's timeline is, I think Kolosov will get one more start at some point, but it won't be Tuesday. It might be Thursday, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I think they're going to play Vladar next Saturday at home. I do.
Okay.
So I think you might see a Thursday start for Kolosov.
Eeny, meeny, you, says Demidov is insane. That'll forever be that's the kick to the gonads. That was the Torts playoff run. And then they sent Celine Dion out to make the pick. Broke my heart.